Hey guys, this is Horatio with BMWBLOG. Welcome to our YouTube channel. Today I'm actually in Austin, Texas, and I am driving a very special car. I'm actually inside the all-new Rolls-Royce Ghost, which was just unveiled a few weeks ago, and the guys at Rolls invited me to Texas to just go behind the wheel and see what the new car is all about. So let's start with the interior. This is the second generation Rolls-Royce Ghost, and according to the brand, they've decided to just put fine touches on an already great product. I've had a chance to actually speak to some of the Rolls-Royce engineers and designers, and there was one common theme that came out of that. Speaking to Rolls-Royce customers, they wanted to not completely change the Ghost. They just wanted to give it a bit of more refinement, and at the same time, they wanted to do more with less. So in order to do that, they came up with this philosophy called post-opulence. So what does it mean? Well, basically they were trying to go towards a more minimalistic look of the car and simplify some of the shapes as well. So if you look at the exterior design, you can clearly see, simpler shapes, less creases on the car. And the idea was here that we can just play with some of the light on those panels and achieve the same thing. Of course, there were still some changes down to the car. So immediately, if you look at the front fascia, you're going to notice a slightly redesigned grille. It's also illuminated, so that's something new on the Ghost. The headlights have also gone through a redesign process. They're a little bit slicker, a little bit narrower. The graphics inside look different than the first generation, so that just gives the car a fresh and new look. If you go towards the back, now you're starting to see a little bit more changes there. You're going to see that sweeping tail being a little bit more pronounced than before. The rear end, it's a little bit more tapered, and that's something that's specific to a lot of Rolls-Royce cars, but it's even more obvious on this Ghost. Clearly the taillights have also been slightly redesigned, just enough to make the car look fresh and different from the first generation. So the idea was clearly to reduce the lines, be a little bit more minimalistic, but at the same time trying to retain that Ghost spirit. So if you go inside the cabin of a Rolls-Royce Ghost, you will immediately notice that it's been simplified a little bit. There are less buttons than before, and you're having the same combination of a digital and analog approach. So while the dashboard, it's all digital, you still have a lot of physical buttons which make that Rolls-Royce stand out in this new era of cars where everything is so digitized. In a nutshell, it's different but the same, yet those little small touches make the new Ghost stand out even more. As you can see, you're getting the typical Rolls-Royce Ghost steering wheel, large, nice to touch. Basically, you can feel this extremely refined leather. Now behind the steering wheel, you have this new panel, all digital, which displays all the relevant information, but at the same time it's not busy. It's quite simplified, minimalistic, and that's something that I truly enjoy. In the center, you're getting a full touch screen, yet you can still use the rotary dial to go through the menus. I played around with the menu quite a bit with the operating system, and it's exactly what you'd expect from a Rolls-Royce. It's simplified, it's elegant, and a lot of the functions are already predefined for you, so you don't have to go and configure too much. And that's kind of the idea of a Rolls-Royce, and especially the idea of a Rolls-Royce Ghost. When you go inside a car, you don't want to spend too much time adjusting the suspension, adjusting the driving mode. So basically you just step inside, turn on the engine, and everything it's defined for you. So clearly it's an approach that we've seen also with the new Phantom, with the new Rolls-Royce Cullinan, and it continues down the same path with the Ghost. It's exactly what a Rolls-Royce customer loves. So speaking to the designers, they saw no point on actually trying to change that. And that's the feedback that they actually received from their customers was, do not try to change too much. Try to stay within the same constraints. Don't try to reinvent the wheel. So it sounds an easy job to do, but it's actually quite hard, because once you have a perfect recipe, how do you improve upon that? So the designers had a really hard time trying to come up with this idea of a post-opulence. Like, how do I achieve the luxurious look and feel of a Rolls-Royce with actually less? And as always, they've managed to do that through little things. Like, for example, you know, the wood on the dashboard, you can actually touch it and you can feel the veneers. It's something that's quite special, because immediately you can tell that this is of high quality, hasn't been extremely processed. So just a tactile feeling, you know, it's why you're buying a Rolls-Royce basically. Then of course it's not just the dashboard. I mean, you look at the leather that's inside the Rolls-Royce. It's extremely high quality. It's something that you don't usually see in any normal cars. And I visited a Goodwood factory quite a few times, and I can tell you that they spend so much time on materials and colors, and more than any other brand out there. And immediately you can feel all this special leather, even on the headrest, on the armrest, and on the seats with the perforated leather. Some of them are two-tone, which is always cool to see. The stitching inside the car, it's perfect. I was trying to find a stitch that might not be fully aligned, but I actually failed on finding one. So again, something that you would expect from a Rolls-Royce, and something that if you spend that much money on a car, you'd expect it to see. Of course, you're also getting the Starlight headliner, a feature that most of us, or if not all of us, love inside the Rolls-Royce. It's probably one of their best features, best options, and that's something that I enjoy seeing every time that I step into a Rolls-Royce. But it's not all about the design. So also, this is the first Rolls-Royce Ghost that's built on its unique platform. It's the architecture of luxury. It's something that started with the new Phantom on the Cullinan, and basically it allows the brand to build different cars on the same architecture. It also allows them to be quite flexible when it comes to the design, but especially it gives them that opportunity to innovate. And there are quite a few things that actually are new on the Ghost when it comes to that. For example, the adaptive drive. You know, we've seen it on other cars as well, but on the Rolls-Royce it just works perfectly. So the idea here is that the car is able to scan the road ahead, and it's going to prepare the engine and the transmission and the gear to be at the appropriate level if you approach a corner, if you're going up the hill. And that's something that's extremely effortless. It's something that you don't even notice. And I've been trying to kind of, you know, predict that on my own, but I wasn't able to. So that's the beauty of the Ghost, being able to drive the car without thinking about all these things. So when it comes to some of the mechanical changes or the new things that are happening underneath the body of the new Rolls-Royce Ghost, it's worth mentioning the flag bearer system, something that we've seen in the Phantom as well. And basically this is a system that scans the road ahead and prepares your suspension and your car for the upcoming turn, for the upcoming hill. But with the new Ghost, Rolls-Royce actually went a step further. They created this new system called Planner, which basically handles the all-wheel drive system of the car along with the self-leveling of the suspension. And you're also getting the four-wheel steering, which certainly helps in the city when you're trying to do some tight turns. But at the same time, when you're going at higher speeds, both wheels turn into the same direction, and that's going to help you, you know, smoothly go into the corners and not have the rear end follow the front end, but rather be a system that will just, you know, give you more confidence even at higher speeds. Of course, being a Rolls-Royce, this is powered by a V12 engine, 6.75 liter. It's likely the last engine offered by the BMW Group, and I'm particularly excited to see this still continuing to live on in a Rolls-Royce product. We don't usually care about horsepower when it comes to Rolls-Royce, but worth mentioning, 627. If there is one word to use to describe the driving experience of the Rolls-Royce Ghost, it's effortless. It's something that Rolls-Royce tries to achieve with every single one of their products, and even more with the Ghost, because the Ghost, it's the one car that's going to be driven by the owner more than any other one. The Phantom, it's well known for, you know, you having a driver and sitting in the back seat and basically being driven around. With the Ghost, you actually want to be behind the wheel and you want to experience and feel the car. So that's why they put so much effort in the engineering behind the car to create a beautiful ride, a calm ride, a serene ride if you'd like. And that's exactly what you would experience when you go even on twisty roads, if you're in a city center, if you go into a vineyard with your family and you just want to have a relaxed and comfortable ride. Naturally, the cabin sound plays an important role in any Rolls-Royce as well. And the engineers told me that the car, it's about 1 decibel quieter than the previous one. Might not seem like a lot, but they were telling me that to achieve that, there was a lot of work that had to go into the chassis, into the body of the car, into the panels, and they were quite proud of that. They even used this cool analogy saying, hey, you know, if you're in a very quiet room and you have this fly, you know, moving around, you will definitely hear that. So we wanted to make sure that when you're inside the Rolls-Royce, there is none of those sounds that might actually bother you. So naturally, they spend quite some time making sure that they will deliver this, isolated cabin sound, but without you being fully disconnected from the world. And at the same time, they played around with the design and the engineering side of things to make sure that even when you go at higher speeds, if you want to have a conversation with your rear sitting passengers, you don't have to raise your voice. You can continue to maintain the same volume of your voice to have the conversation. So it's not something that, again, you have to think about or you have to adjust. It's simply there for you. So this is really what makes the Rolls-Royce special, right? I mean, they spend so many years trying to refine even little things that might seem little to us, but to them they're major engineering achievements, something that they truly work on and they're passionate about. And once you go behind the wheel, you're starting to notice this thing. You're starting to notice the passion that goes into creating a car like this. And once you start speaking to the engineers and to designers, how passionate these guys are. They're not there to cut any corners. They're there to provide the highest level of quality possible and required by a Rolls-Royce customer. And especially when it comes to the Ghost, it's a different demographic. The car has the youngest demographic of all the models. It's the car that also brought a lot of new customers to the brand. So it's not unusual to see people in their late 30s, early 40s that own one or multiple Rolls-Royce Ghosts. And to give you an example, we had a chat last night with a young couple from Austin, and they own quite a few Rolls-Royce cars, and they come from a technology and finance background, and you can see immediately that there is a new clientele, people that really work hard for their money and now they want to be rewarded and they turn to Rolls-Royce. Of course, they always want to have something special, so this is where the Rolls-Royce Bespoke program comes in. And some of the cars that we've seen last night and we're going to see in the next few months are quite spectacular. You can see the extent of the Bespoke program at Rolls-Royce and how much the customers actually push them to come up with very, very interesting products. So in a nutshell, the Rolls-Royce, it's likely the pinnacle of luxury cars. It's a car that if you have the money, you have to have it in your garage. I mean, this is the one car that everyone will enjoy it in your family, from your kids to your significant other. It's unlikely to find someone that will not be mesmerized by the Rolls-Royce brand and by their products. So the second generation Rolls-Royce Ghost, it's exactly what you would expect from the brand. It's a refined product, it's extremely luxurious, but at the same time, they've really spent the time to make sure that the engineering matches everything that's outside and inside the car. So I would say for the first time, they've used their technology to enhance the car. So it's not all about the level of luxury that they managed to achieve, or the colors, or the materials. It's really also the driving experience that's significantly better than the previous car. So with all these Ghost customers that wanted to drive their cars, they've had to spend the time on the engineering side to make sure that it matches the new demands of their customers. So while it's cool to talk about all the finishes and stitching and materials, it's certainly worth mentioning the suspension, the engine, the cabin isolation, which is fantastic. There are also a few design traits on the outside that show how much time they actually spend on the product to refine it, to make it better than before. So I'm gonna close here. Hopefully we get to drive the car even more in the future and kind of bring behind the scenes a little bit more. But as always, I would like to thank you for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And once again, thank you and see you soon.